Everyone, welcome back to this week's Arrow. And in this week's Beautiful Arrow, we're going to be doing the continuation of the Pyramid of Giza and the testimony of God's plan, which has been written through a symbolic meaning. So, thanking the Lord through our Savior Jesus Christ, let us begin. So, what did we see in last week's video? Last week we saw how the Grand Gallery connects with the Gospel age and the significance of this age through Jesus Christ's ransom sacrifice, we see. But Jesus Christ attained this, we saw in last week's video, by overcoming all his endurances, by his complete obedience, and also the same for the followers of him, we have to see, in the Gospel period, have certain liberties and privileges offered conditionally to all justified during the Gospel age, we see, who opened up by the ransom sacrifice, by all have to overcome this narrow way, which has trials and endurances through obedience, we can see. And we can see to be justified during the Gospel age, we can see, and opened up by the ransom sacrifice was this path. And we can see that to overcome this specific narrow way, we have to see, we had to go through trials and endurances through obedience. We can even read about this in more detail in James 1st chapter 12th verse, where it says, "Blessed is the one who perceives under the trial, because having stood the test, that the person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." This is represented by the wonderful illustration about the Grand Gallery. This verse itself is said of the cause of the true Christian church, which is to take, we should say, and the path of the little flock of overcomers during the long period of the Gospel age, the path that they could attain if they are able to not succumb to their trials and endurances and show that obedience, we see. As the Great Gallery was built, as we've described in many videos, was built with beautiful cream white walls and a ceiling formed of regular overlapping stones and all sloping upward with white limestone. The apparent length of the Grand Gallery shows how long the Gospel age has appeared to individual members of the church, while its narrowness of these lengths represent the narrow way to life, we see, and its steepness, the difficulty with which the way is pursued, and the continual danger of backsliding to those who fail to watch vigilantly with their steps, we see, because it is clearly given us about how the Pyramid of Giza is formed, with its cream white walls formed of regular overlapping stones, all sloping upwards, made of white limestone. But we can see each thing in this pyramid has a significance, we can see, because we can see the narrowness represents the narrow way to life, we see. Then we can see the length of the Grand Gallery shows how the Gospel age has appeared, how long the Gospel age has appeared to each individual member. And we can see the steepness shows the difficulty with which is pursued this path, we can see, and the continual danger of backsliding to those who fail to watch their steps, we see. Yet within their support of these walls, which shows us the divine favor, is the safety and security of all those who continue in well-doing, we see, who continue to grow in grace, to ascend the difficult way, I should say, to walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit, as those are the little flock who are overcoming this long Gospel age period, overcomers, and withstanding the trials and endurances, we can see. So, we can see, finally, looking upward along the Grand Gallery, we see that it has an end as well as a beginning. So we're going to end it off with this understanding that the Grand Gallery is coming with another symbolic representation, that when looking up along the Grand Gallery, we see that it has an end as well as a beginning. And we'll continue more about this in next week's video. So overall, in this video, we have understood how the beauty, once again, of its significance has represented the struggle and the endurances, and how the life will be for the little flock that has to overcome the trials in this long period of the Gospel age, as it has its difficulties, but to follow that difficult path and grow in grace and ascend to the gospel, ascend in the right way, is what we must endure, we see, and to walk not after the flesh but the Spirit. So that's all for this week's video, and I'll see you next week. Bye.